Welcome to part 2 of the Garden Report, brought to you by Blue Apron. For three free meals and free shipping. You want to cook at home and be a master chef at home, you need to use Blue Apron. It's how we eat dinner here on the Garden Report.
Together.
They have incredible meals. I mean, they really have everything you could want throughout the year. They send you pre-made meal or pre-planned meals, give you all the ingredients neatly packaged, makes it really easy for you to cook at home, and you get 3 free meals and free shipping when you go to blueapron.com/Garden Report. Don't go to gardenreport.com/Blue Apron. I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't want.
Don't do it.
We don't want you to see what kind of aprons they have at gardenreport.com. So let's talk about a man who has gone from being a good coach to a great coach.
Okay.
And that's Brad Stevens.
That is Brad Stevens.
The Eastern Conference All-Star coach this year.
Your Eastern Conference All-Star coach.
Not mine, but yours.
The camera.
But yours.
The camera.
And he even said in his press conference, typical humble Brad fashion, he felt bad that it wasn't Ty Lue that was the coach.
It was peak Brad Stevens.
He even said he felt bad that he couldn't bring other coaches from the Eastern Conference with him. Now, I'm sure you're probably aware by now, if you watch our show, you really know your stuff. LOL. No, but seriously, you probably do. You probably know that Ty Lue, even though the Cleveland Cavaliers are in first place, can't coach this year because they don't allow coaches to repeat, which is actually a really good rule because you don't want Greg Popovich coaching ever. Actually, no, you do want Greg Popovich coaching every single All-Star game. So Steve Kerr will coach the West.
It's an exhibition game.
And so Isaiah jokes after the game that he wants Brad to put him in as a starter. So we'll see if Brad can get away with that one. Probably not. But it's
some election type stuff right there.
No, but it's a great reward for Brad Stevens, who gets a chance to kind of be really humble on the national stage now.
Oh, my God. I almost laughed in the middle of the press conference because it was just such a Brad Stevens quote. I mean,
I did laugh, by the way.
I thought he was going to say, I didn't even know about it till right now. Honestly, that was my prediction. He went even further, Brad Stevens, where he said he actually felt kind of bad about it, which just explains Brad Stevens. And what he meant by that was, I think, he did want to think his guys, his players, because those are the guys at the end of the day. They go out there, they're hitting the shots, they're grabbing the rebounds, although they're not grabbing enough this season.
Or in that offensive rebound play at the end of the game.
Thank God the Lakers can't hit a damn shot.
Larry Nance for Hall of Fame.
Not going to be in the dunk contest. Should be, but won't be. Definitely won't be in the three-point contest either after that display. Back to Brad Stevens. We talked about this for a short period in the last video. It's obviously a great thing to have him there. The publicity that you get from being the coach. He'll meet a lot of players that he might know of, and the players know of him, and maybe they've seen each other in passing. And
who they might want to acquire in the near future, like the week before.
We're talking about free agency in the summer. We're talking about trade deadline coming up. And down the road, you never know. And you just one thing that he might say could stick with a couple of guys, and down the road, when they're making a decision, they might look back, and that could be the decision makers. Okay, well, I remember, I spent a day or two with him. And I really liked his style, how he coached, what he said to me. Maybe he pulled him aside and showed him something. So I think it's great. And the assistant coaches, too. It's good for them.
Well, don't forget, Jimmy Butler will be starting for Brad Stevens at the All-Star game. And a week later, he could be starting for Brad Stevens in a Celtics jersey. So that will be interesting to see. Never forget, Isaiah did recruit Al Horford last year at the All-Star game. So
Isaiah's like teacher's pet on All-Star
weekend. He really
is.
He's
really
going to
get I don't know if he's going to get 10 minutes of playing time because Brad doesn't want to overuse him, or if he's going to get 35.
He's going to come in at the beginning of the fourth quarter and just make it rain. It's going to be time. It's going to be time.
Isaiah Thomas, my prediction, MVP of the All-Star game.
I actually don't think that's a bad prediction. That would be really interesting, but it could happen. I think it's going to be Giannis. I think Giannis is going to dazzle everybody.
That's a good one.
Because
you know why? They'll let him just run down the court and just dunk. No one's going to get in his way.
Actually, I prefer that Isaiah gets a day-to-day ankle injury, a day-to-day pinky finger injury on his off shooting hand, so that Joel Embiid can get added to the All-Star roster. I think that would be a win-win for all sides on that one.
No, we want Isaiah there.
Isaiah doesn't. Isaiah wants to play, but Stevens doesn't want Isaiah playing. He doesn't want Isaiah playing a game that doesn't contribute to winning a championship. So, I don't think we're gonna have that issue. Before we go,
do want Embiid to be there though.
We should do a Joel Embiid video. Paul Pierce will be back in Boston for the final time. We thought it was going to be the final time last time. This time, we know for a fact it will be the final time unless he changes his mind one more time.
Unless Celtics trade for him at the trade deadline.
That could be true. But there's no question to be asked about this. Just talk about Paul Pierce coming back.
I'm not going to speak for you, but I can say.
You can.
I can say I think the reason me and you are even standing here right now, and the reason we, went to school and got so into sport, went to school to do.
I went to school just because of Paul Pierce.
Went to school to do this. I think it
Talk
started
to the mic.
for me was like, sorry, I'm gonna talk into the mic. Obviously, I did not pay attention in school when I was there, but just
my class was
your
pretty
love.
dark.
It started with a love of the Celtics, and then became, evolved into, okay, I want to write about the Celtics. I want to talk about them on TV or on the radio, whatever it is. It started for me with Paul Pierce, and I think everyone in my age group. I'm going to be 30 this year, which is extremely sad. But even people below people like anywhere from, I would say, 20 to 40 right now. That's a huge age frame. But when you look around and you see a packed garden, it's because of Paul Pierce. Because when the Celtics weren't any good, Paul Pierce was the reason fans stuck around, and through those early 2000s and mid 2000s, those were fun teams for the diehards. But for the casual NBA fan, you didn't care about the Celtics. But Celtics fans cared about the Celtics because of Paul Pierce. So it's going to be an amazing sort of send-off on Sunday. I can't wait for it personally. I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way.
Well, no, I mean, I was watching the Celtics just to see Dino Raja for the most part.
Right,
That was me. That was me.
Purvis Ellison.
Yeah, I mean, everything that you said obviously mirrors exactly how my life, but that is my life story, basically.
Right.
Was growing up sitting in section 15 right over there.
Yep.
I'm
more of a bleacher creature.
Yeah. Oh, well, my dad, when he started.
I got a taste of the good life here and there, though.
Yeah. My dad started up in 75 up there and the very back. He worked his way down over the years. I was lucky to be able to have season tickets from my childhood.
Oh, yeah.
Although, obviously, tickets got very expensive. We only had to get a few a year. But, it's growing up watching the evolution of Paul Pierce was incredible. Being in high school, being a senior in high school the year that they won the title, and seeing the transformation was one of the great transformations of our generation of a player, where Pierce went from a guy that a year before was almost maligned and people were almost disappointed that it seemed like he was kind of just a one-dimensional, or not a one-dimensional scorer, but he was mostly just a scorer. Right. And to see how he completely transformed his game when KG and Ray showed up, became one of the best defenders at his position in the game, became a really good passer, really became a great leader.
Right.
And it was incredible to see that, and it taught me so much about how people can grow and I think watching the way that Pierce evolved in that season kind of changed the way that I evaluated players and helped me kind of mature, make my analysis more mature. I think it made a lot of people's understanding of the game more mature in Boston.
And I think he adapted. He could have easily said, I'm still the guy, but he knew that Ray Allen was the sharpshooter. He knew that KG was sort of this hype machine guy and was going to get in there and rah and get the boards and bark at opponents. And Pierce was still the killer. He was still the guy that they looked to late in the games, but he knew that he didn't have to be the only guy anymore, and he adapted, and I think that comes in time. But before that, I think one of the reasons that guys like me and you loved Pierce and loved his stuff, we felt that I felt he was like one of the most underrated players in the NBA, unheralded.
We always did around here.
We felt like there was a chip on our collective shoulders because we didn't think he got the respect that he deserved, because the Celtics were never on national TV, and they had about 1 or 2 years that year they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and Pierce played excellent, and then you just then on a national scale kind of falls off the face of the earth. So it was kind of that always wanting him, you almost wanted him to get the recognition you felt he deserved, and then when KG and Allen came, and then it was just finally vindicated. It was just this gigantic sigh of relief. Fine, this guy deserved a championship. He worked his ass off. He sacrificed a lot, and it really couldn't have happened, in my opinion, to more of a player that I looked up to more growing up.
He was like Rapunzel letting his hair down, just waiting for a pair of knights to come rescue him.
Paul Pierce right
now.
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of a little guy in this locker room nowadays that was underrated for a long time, and it really took him. He had to slap everybody in the face to be able to show how great he was, and it really. I covered Pierce at the end of his run. You were here a few years before even I was, but it's amazing watching these players kind of evolve from being good players that you could see the things that they can do to evolving to just incredible players. We saw it with Paul. We're seeing it with Isaiah now. We did see it with Rondo. Actually, I was there for most of Rondo's run. Actually, I was mostly there for the downfall of Rondo's run. But there's nothing more enjoyable in this profession than getting to be up close and watching the daily improvement and development of a great player.
Right.
Especially seeing the way that they take control of the locker room. It's incredible to see how Isaiah is really one of the golden leaders in the NBA now, and how he's evolved from being kind of like a quiet guy that would drop 20 points most nights or kind of fight there. And now he's not only is he dominating on the court, but his press conferences, his presence in the locker room is so dominating in his own little understated way.
And I think Isaiah is just starting to get it. He's just starting to realize, how important he and the Celtics are to these fans in the building. I think on Sunday, when he sees, the ovation and the celebration of Pierce, I hope and I think that he'll notice it and he'll say, well, that could be me. If I continue to play my game, I'm not saying he's going to go and score 40 points a game. He doesn't have to. Pierce didn't do that either. But Pierce did, take on a leadership role, and he did win a championship, and he will forever be, one of the greatest Boston Celtics ever played his game. And if Isaiah wants that, he can have that. And Pierce's number, probably next year, will be up there in those rafters. And that's going to be another moment where Isaiah Thomas, I think it's going to be another wow moment for Isaiah, where he can say, that could also be me. Whether it will be 4 or number 11, if he keeps 11, if he keeps 4 and changes or not, I think he's going to keep 4. But if he wants it up there, he can have it. I would say, probably don't go the Rajon Rondo route.
Yeah. Well, thanks for spoiling my question for Isaiah's post-game presser on Sunday.
Oh,
that's what I'm going to ask him.
Give it
so
to you.
we'll get our answer for that. And Isaiah did say that he doesn't want to change to number 11 because so many people already paid for number 4 jerseys. So we should start a GoFundMe for people that bought Isaiah Thomas jerseys to get a 1 drawn on, and then just kind of like erase the edge of the floor.
I had a really good nickname for Isaiah if he does change to 11. I don't know if I want to say it, though.
No, let's save it for when it happens.
Save it if it
save it for the retirement ceremony.
If it never happens, no one's ever going to know. If it happens, you heard it here first.
You can whisper it in my ear. Or?
The 11th hour.
It's a good thing the mic's right next to your face.
I wonder if that picked up.
Yeah, it probably did. No, it didn't. All right, well, good.
Did you hear it?
I did hear it.
Did you like it?
I liked it. That is the end of the Garden Report in a very fun and efficient ending, very much like Isaiah Thomas.
It was great video and audio.
So we will see you Sunday before the Super Bowl. We are going to rush as fast as possible to get you a Garden Report video up on the interwebs on the CLNS Radio YouTube page as soon as we can after the Celtics-Clippers game is over, so you can watch it. You can tell everybody else to watch it. We can get ad revenue, and then we can get paid, and we can get more equipment to make the show better. So please watch it. Don't miss it, because it's going to be good, and it's going to be preceding the Patriots game, and you'll get to enjoy it before the Super Bowl. And what do you have to say before I do one more plug?
Pierce is going to want to be fast too, because he's a huge Patriots fan.
That is true.
So he'll be out of there.
He's got to get.
Won't keep us.
He has to get down to Houston before kickoff. So we'll see. Just one more thing, on the CLNS Radio YouTube page is a new documentary, a 3-part doc on Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce, the greatest Pierce scorer in Celtics history. I was excited to contribute to that production, but credit to Larry H. Russell, who directed it and did most of the interviews, Kyle George, who produced it, as well as Jeremy Karpf right here. He and I interviewed Sean Grandy for that video. It is absolutely worth watching. You can find it. It's posted on CLNS, posted on Celtics blog. You can find it on the CLNS Radio YouTube channel. That will do it for us from the Garden.
From the Garden.
And it is almost Saturday morning at this point. I'm Jared Weiss, or Jimmy Toscano. That's Jeremy Karpf behind the camera. We will see you Sunday before the Super Bowl on the Garden Report.